And good afternoon, everybody. Thank furlough, it's Friday once again. It's actually Friday the 13th, but we won't hold that against you. It's going to be a good day. It's a wonderful day here. Now, I'm not telling you where I am. I'll give you a few clues in a minute. I'm doing another one of my my roving programs, I'm afraid. I think I mentioned a little while ago that June and I decided that we were moving house, and because of the huge demand at the current for people to move home because of stamp duty changes and Brexit and various other things, we were given an ultimatum of either moving out now or in February. So we took now, which means that our furniture is stocked away somewhere, and June and I are living in a hotel for a few days because we can't actually move until next week. And lo and behold, we've chosen Monday and Tuesday to move in, or rather we were given Monday to Tuesday to move in. And those of you who are alert will know that something big is happening next Tuesday, of course, our summit. And we are absolutely over the moon. We've had way over 800 of you already booked in. We've had, I think, 18 this morning booked in. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. And sometime during today, we will have Amy Copeland on, who's going to talk it through. We've lost her at the moment, so we're going to try and get her back in. Now, just for those of you who are going to be trying to be really, really clever, I'm looking actually over a sporting facility. In the background, you can probably just hear traffic. Yeah, that's the M27. And I'm looking at something called the Shane Warne Stand. And I'm in the hotel opposite. And the bar here is called Beefy's Bar. So anybody would like to come up and tell me where I am, that will be fantastic. So anyway, Jacquie Mount, as always, is here with us. It wouldn't be Friday without Jacquie. And she's going to follow up with your many, many questions. Good morning, Jacquie.
Good morning or good afternoon even. Yeah, just good afternoon.
Sorry,
I've had my lunch. Hi everyone, nice to be back with you. Firstly, really this afternoon is just picking up on any questions you may have, because nothing much new has come out since last week. There has been a bit more detail added into the HMRC guidelines, but apart from that, there's nothing much new. So what I wanted to start off with was just picking up a few queries from last week and trying to answer them. Now, we were looking at the furlough and the calculation of normal hours and the wage, and I've had confirmation, and thank you to all of those of you who were on last week who put the links up and found it before I did. Great, thank you very much indeed. Oh, we've got a guest, Garry, but I'm not going to say, I'll leave that one for you. And sorry, somebody's just guessed where Garry might be. And the law is that if you have an employee who was able to be previously furloughed under the existing furlough or the first flexible furlough, then you use the same calculations for wages and calculation of normal hours as you did then. And it's exactly as it was in August. However, if you have an employee who was not able to be furloughed, that means either they were too late in joining you to start the furlough, or they've been appointed this year in the last couple of months, but they weren't able to be furloughed, then you are using the average of their income for either the fixed, if it's a fixed salary, it's the October salary. And if it's a flexible salary, you need to take the average income from either the 6th of April or the date they started, whichever is later, and the 30th of October. So those are your dates that you need to look at. Now, the claim portal should be open. It opened on the 11th of November, so you can start putting claims now. Claims must be made for a minimum of a week, and they must be dated within a calendar month. So that's exactly the same as the flexible furlough. This time, as we said last week, the deadlines for claiming are much tighter. The deadline for claiming for November has got to be done by the 14th of December, and you can make claims in advance for imminent pay. So one of our members that's been on for most weeks has said their payday is the halfway through the month, it's 14th of November. So what do? Well, they'll have to claim for the first 2 weeks in November and then do some sort of an estimate of what the claim will be for the last 2 weeks. I think put the whole thing in as a November monthly claim. So some in arrears, some in advance, and just make sure that you correct it each month as you go. Little bit on statutory sick pay. Now, what I've picked up this week is if you have someone on long-term sick, then they can be furloughed. But the furlough scheme is not intended for people who have got to go on, say, a 2-week isolation because they've been caught by track and trace. And you cannot furlough them for that purposes, but you could put them on statutory sick pay, minimum statutory sick pay, but the furlough is not aimed at short-term coverage for short-term sick. Don't forget that if they're being paid SSP, you can reclaim that. That's exactly the same as it has been since the start. The government is still paying back up to 2 weeks statutory sick pay for them, so you can still get that. And there's a little bit more come out on shielding. Now, there are on the guidelines, there is some information there about if the individual is shielding or extremely vulnerable, or if they have living with somebody who has to shield because of COVID, then they could get a letter. There are letters that you might be able to get from, say, a hospital or your doctors, or you will be written to by HMRC, in which case those two can be furloughed as well, if they're in the shielding bracket. Now,
while you're thinking about that one, whilst you're thinking about, just to say, within 2 minutes, Joe Wheeler had come on and guessed correctly. I'm actually at the GS Bowl, which is the Hampshire cricket ground. So if I show you this, I think you can just see. And there, across there, of course, is the clubhouse where we've had, I think, 2 Inspire tours. But currently, I'm in the Hilton across the road, which is completely deserted. I think I'm the only person staying here looking at this. Well, myself and June, of course. But anyway, so well done, you. And that's where I am.
And Keith Elliott guessed it as well, Gary.
Oh, right. Okay.
Keith's got it as well. Right, so just a quick one through the notes. Now, maternity, if you have somebody who is on maternity leave and they're going on to, say, the reduced maternity pay after 6 weeks, you could bring them back from statutory maternity leave and furlough them, provided that you fulfill all the obligations. Now, it has to be done in agreement between the employer and the employee. And you have to have, I'm not sure if it's 8 or 9 weeks notice that it has to be given for them to come back to work. So they have to give you the statutory notice that they want to return to work. It has to be agreed, and then they can be furloughed. But of course, if the furlough comes to an end, they cannot not go back on maternity leave, because once they've come off leave, parental leave, then they can't go back on. But there are some ins and outs around that, and there's quite a lot of information now on there. The only other information that I picked up in the last couple of days is about grants. There are business grants. There are lots of grants available, and I get a daily email from BEIS, the department, and was it Business Enterprise? I can never remember what it's called. Garry will know. I know BEIS, Business Enterprise.
Industrial Strategy.
Industrial Strategies. Thank you. And they are listing all the grants that are available. Now, there are the standard business grants. There are additional business grants. There are additional restrictions grants. So if you're in a situation where you think you need to apply for grants, then please go to your local authority and ask about those. The grants that were available for local lockdowns, this is in England, because of course Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland have their own grants that they're giving out. So this is purely in England. That those local restriction grants that were available for areas who were under local lockdown, those have now been withdrawn, and we're into the national grants scheme again, regardless of what it is. So that's all the information I think picks up the last few questions from last week. So do we have a look at what's in this week?
Members must remember that their clients obviously need all this information as well. And it was brought home to me at the end of last week I spoke to one of our members, and he was saying that his clients had said he'd had an accountant for 22 years who'd suddenly gone missing when COVID came in. So he became a new client for our member, and the member, he sent me a copy of an email from the client about our member saying, you're absolutely fantastic. I've never heard so much from anybody before about how my accounts work. I actually feel I understand my business now. Thank you so much. And so, yeah, I think we've done really good. And don't forget, we're celebrating how good you've actually been on Wednesday with Razor Cup Day. So Amy will be coming on in a minute. She'll probably talk about all of that. And if I can also say, everybody now is getting on to the platform ready for next week, and they're already socializing. They're already trying to get up the ladder. There's a ladder there where you can gain points and you move up and up and up, and we've got quite a bit of competitiveness, as I would expect, taking place already. I haven't quite figured out how you get up there yet. I'm way down at the bottom, but some people have already got 600 or 700 points right up at the top. So they're having chats with each other. But please remember to put your photographs up, because a lot of people will remember you by your face, but perhaps if they met you at the last conference and haven't seen you since, won't remember your name. So do please put your picture up. A couple of you, I think, have put a bit of a cartoon picture up. That's okay, but it's got to look really like you or else it won't work. One thing I do want to say is we have an exhibition of sorts. It's a virtual exhibition, and there you'll find our sponsors. Now, our sponsors are actually very important for many reasons, not financial so much as the support they've given us. Now, if you think back a couple of years before we all heard about the cloud and we were helped with our software companies to do things remotely and everything else, you imagine if COVID had hit then, we would have been in a mess. Our clients would not have been able to get their accounts done the same way and everything else. So the technological advances we've made over the last 5 years. Excuse the seagulls. I've got Jackie seagulls for a change. Oh, well, never mind.
But you get when you move down near the coast.
So our sponsors, just to give it, and I really do want to praise them for everything they've done, because I know they've helped everybody out here. But Xero is our headline sponsor this year, but we've also got XE Magazine, Free Agent, Sage, Tax Filer, Accountancy Manager, Intuit QuickBooks, Training Link, Ideal Schools, Auto Entry, Walters Kluwer, which is a new one for us, Satago, Funding Circle, Tide, FA Sims. You know, these are people who believe in you as bookkeepers. They want to be part of our community, and they know and understand how ICB and IC members work. And it's very important that we go on and say hello. It's virtual. You don't have to leave your name and number if you don't want to, but, you know, go on there and show them that you care and that you're thankful for everything that they've done over the last 10 months and years before, but particularly over the last 10 months, to keep your business running so that you keep other people's businesses running. Okay.
Sylvia Borehill says seagulls are sponsors. I think she might be talking. Are you talking about the football club?
Oh,
Sylvia.
Yeah.
Okay. A couple of questions on.
Yeah. We have Amy. Hello, Amy. Hi.
Hello. Can you hear me?
You have the technology back. Yeah. I thank you for coming on. I know it's a really busy time for you at the moment. I mean, you've obviously set up this entire summit, and I've done a really bad trick and disappeared off to the south coast, and I'm having nothing to do with it. So you're doing everything, and your team. So thank you for coming on and explaining it, because I've been so far removed. I really am not the best person to talk about it this year. So tell us everything, please.
You've already been spreading misinformation. You told people that they were logging in last week, and I had all these frantic emails from people worried. So yes, so good. Yes, I will explain everything. What did you say?
We can't get the staff, can we, Amy?
We can't get the staff. No. But yeah, absolutely. It doesn't matter where you are in the UK or the world, you can access the Bookkeepers Summit. So Garry was right. Lots of people have started joining the Bookkeepers Summit virtual platform. It is a venue of sorts for now for the next 3 months. You'll be able to access all of the content. But what I would say is that it's the networking that takes place now. And so that's really one of the things we've been looking to do at the Bookkeepers Summit, is make sure that you can connect with your fellow members. So all the networking takes place from now until the end of Global Bookkeeping Week next Friday. But then the recordings of all of the videos, the sessions, that will all be available for 3 months. So I'm going to do a little tour. Now, this may not be necessary because the social feed at the Bookkeepers Summit is alive and kicking, and there have been so many posts. So thank you everyone who's already getting involved. So I think it probably is relatively straightforward, but I just want to give you a little glimpse of it so that you can make the best use of it. So let me just do something that's always more difficult than it should be, which is share my screen. And so the reason I was having technical difficulties is because I've got a brand new laptop, which was supposed to make all this easier, but now it's asking me for all sorts of privacy settings and stuff. So you might have to just talk over me for a second, Garry, while I figure this out.
Well, I've never found that difficult, Amy. You know that. I'd talk over anybody. That's at will. I'm constantly accused of that. But yeah, June has been following up some people on the forum this morning, and one gentleman who came on said, I've been feeling very guilty about wanting to be away for 2 days and, you know, worried that I'm spending time that I should be spending looking after my company. And June sent a response back, which is basically that it is part of you being better at what you do. You shouldn't feel guilty at all. We all say we need a couple of weeks a year to recuperate, to get life back, and when you come back to work you feel refreshed and you feel more invigorated and ready to go. It's exactly the same with Summit, and so many stories that actually anybody that's on the platform will start to see these stories. People came alive because of their bookkeeping career, and by meeting other people and by meeting our sponsors and talking to people, they learn just that little bit extra. And really, you've only got to learn one thing from conference to make it successful. Now that was a double thumbs up, so that's a shot.
Double thumbs up. I've got it working finally. So I'm just going to share the screen here. So you're going to see Garry first of all, but here we go. We are at the Bookkeepers Summit. So this is it is a website, but it's effectively a virtual venue, and there is also an app. So this website will work perfectly well on your mobile phone, but there's also an app. I think the benefit of the app is it's designed a little bit more specifically for a phone, and you'll get lots of notifications because, as I said, it's quite busy already. And now, when you're watching the sessions and you're doing any kind of video interactions, the best experience is going to be on your desktop using a Chrome browser. And apparently, if you get any sort of interference where it feels like it's not really working properly, try using a Chrome incognito window, which apparently is what you do with QuickBooks as well, so I've been told. So you'll be old hands at that, I'm sure. But otherwise, you can do it on your phone, you can do it on the website. It's absolutely up to you. And certainly, you probably may well be busier than ever. So you don't have to come and watch all the sessions exactly as they are played out on the Tuesday and Wednesday, because you will have access to the recordings afterwards. But as Garry said, it is a tremendous opportunity to take the chance to stop looking after everybody else's business for a while and actually start thinking about your business and your career, and look to the future, plan for success. So if you can take the time out, it is worth doing. So just to give you a little look around, here's the reception. This has just got a couple of pointers to the rest of the event. Now, the Bookkeepers Summit has expanded from being a sort of 2-day conference with lots of information sessions, but that is what it is at its core. So let's head over to the agenda just so I can show you what's going on here. Now, we've put in here that we've got pre-event networking days, and the scheduled sessions are on the Tuesday and the Wednesday. Now, you'll be pleased to know that Garry is doing a welcome keynote on both days at 9:30, and that's when those sessions start. So the sessions go all the way up until 5 o'clock when they finish. And then at the end of both days, look at all these sessions. At the end of both days, we've got a happy hour, and that will happen. That, of course, is totally virtual within this event. So I put some little asterisks here so that you can see where those events are. And all of these, if you just hover over it and click show more, you'll be able to see who's speaking. You can click on the speakers and get a bit more information about them, see what sessions they're in. So quite a lot of our speakers may well be doing several sessions. I'm talking about Jacquie Mount here. Look at this. quite a lot of sessions there from Jacquie. She, of course, will be sort of heading up the technical type sessions, and then interspersed with information heavy technical sessions, we've also got these ideas based keynotes. So we've got this great speaker from America, Denitha Doe, talking about how you focus on your own peace and prosperity, because your well-being is just as important as the well-being of your clients. And actually, she's got some quite interesting insights there. So loads and loads of sessions, loads and loads of speakers. And not only can you get a bit more information there, you can like things as you go through, and you can take a note and you can add them to your calendar if you've got your calendar synced up on your computer. You can also have a look at all the speakers here. So this is 32 speakers that we have convened for this event, and you can search for people, of course, that you want to look for. And once you've done looking at the speakers, you may want to pop over here to the attendees tab. Now, one of my
I've got a question here, just interrupting, from Rowena too. I've never been to Summit, so how do I connect with people I don't know? Sorry if this is a silly question. No question's a silly question, Rowena, don't worry. Amy, what do we do if we don't actually know anybody? Can we roll up and say hi?
Perfect timing. Yes. So there are a number of ways that you can network. So let me just go through them. There is a list of attendees. So you can actually see who is at the summit, and you can filter and search for people. So you could search for people's names here, or say search for anybody in the ICB. So if I put an ICB there, wow, loads of people apparently are at the ICB. So some of these people are just ICB members, I think, actually, but here's a bunch of us. So look for ICB people there. You could look for, let's see if we can find Garry. Probably the only Garry with 2 R's there. You click on them, you can see some information about them. Here he is. You can see what interests he's got. And then this is also a little bit of matchmaking. It shows you similar profiles.
Wow.
What are you going to think? Wow. And if you want to meet with somebody directly, one-to-one, you can do so here by clicking either Meet, and that is a video meeting. And then you can browse through their diary. Now, the video meetings are taking place next week. So that's why you probably won't see any sessions available. So on the Tuesday and Wednesday, and then you can click that, and there's no obligation here. You can just send a little invite, say what you want to talk about, send your request. Let's say hi, send that request, and then he will receive that request. So
I've just received it. Yeah, indeed.
Oh, you just received it. Great. So obviously, if you're in the app or you've got all your notifications switched on, you will see that straight away. Another way to chat with somebody directly is to just text chat, which might be a bit easier. I would find that easier. So you can just send a quick message. Hi, Garry. I can hear your phone buzzing away. Hi, Garry. That's a little bit less intense, isn't it? And then maybe you could start off with a little text chat, then move on to video meetings if you want to.
I think the thing is very much like a normal conference, because a lot of people come to conference for the first time. They don't know anybody, and they sort of circle for a little minute, find a group that looks chatty and happy and comfortable, and they sort of jump in very quickly and say hello. Or what happens most times is that ICB team members will be walking around trying to get to know people and say hello and see if anybody's standing by themselves and looking lost. Now, I would suggest that if somebody doesn't know anybody, think of the person that you spoke to at the Institute last time you called them. Their picture will be there somewhere. We've got Maddie there. We've got Alina. They talk to people when they come in. We've now got Antonia, who's our new girl. She's already speaking to people. So those are the frontline people. But you've got Jacquie's number there. You've got Amy's number. You've got mine. You've got the entire team, really. So if you're a little bit nervous, try and speak to one of those first.
There is another way to do it. So this is one-to-one meetings, or you can just go through the attendee list and find people. Now, when you first log into the website, you'll be asked to update your profile. So the more thoroughly you do that, not all the fields are required, and it does say specifically which are hidden from public view. So we've also asked some questions about size of business, how many clients you have. No one's going to see that. So it should be very clear when you set up your profile. But what it does mean is you can then also filter by things like people's company all these amazing bookkeeping businesses there, or their job titles if you're specifically looking for a bookkeeper. Or you want somebody from a specific country. So far we've only got India, Ireland and United Kingdom here, but I know that we've got people who've booked tickets from all over the world, the USA, the Philippines and Eastern Europe. Or if perhaps you want to find somebody who's specifically working with the agriculture, forestry and fishing industry, you can find them. And there's a little bit, again, you might call this AI if you like AI. If you're scared by it, let's not call it that. But it will suggest people for you to connect with, and that's based on similar interests that you've set up in your profile. So that can do a little bit of the work for you. You will also get a notification when someone looks at your profile. So bear this in mind, people will know if you've looked at them, but you get points for that. So Garry did mention this leaderboard. So what this does is just, you actually get rewarded for your interactions with the event. So there's a little present here which tells you what prizes are on offer, and this gives you a list of how you get those points. So it's any sort of interactions like joining a meeting room, accepting a meeting from somebody, dropping off your business card somewhere. So we are actually incentivizing you to go drop your business card off with exhibitors, but I would recommend you do that anyway. Now, so far, these are ICB team members, so this has got to stop. We do not deserve to win any prizes for this. Now, our team is very competitive about getting this little crown that you get at the top there. This isn't for everybody, it's not compulsory, but it is quite addictive. So you've been warned. Here is your list of notifications, so you can see everybody who's sent you a nice message, so you don't miss anything. And these are, sorry, that's the chat messages, and this is notifications. So we may well send updates like, hey, it's lunch break, why don't you head over to the networking area? There is another way of networking, which might be more familiar to most of you. It's the social feed. The social feed is like Facebook. So everybody, so this is, people have been posting this just today. And here we go, here's a picture from Andy Hodges. There he is. So you can post pictures, post photos, you can like other people's comments like that. Claire Kendall, she's one of our Luca nominees. And what people are tending to do is say, you know, what they're up to, what they're looking to do, and if it's their first summit. So please do get involved with that. Now you can also do something here, which is introduce yourself. And no, this is it. I am looking for, yes, this is quite good. So if you're looking for perhaps a subcontractor to help you with payroll, you can post it in here. Or you could say, I'm offering my payroll services and I'm looking to shadow somebody, something like that. It could be anything. Maybe you're looking for a dog walker. I imagine that most of the chat is going to be fairly bookkeeping related, and we'll always sort of push you another way if you are starting to discuss things that we don't think are so relevant. So don't worry, do not hold back at this stage. Here, just on the reception homepage, there's a link to those apps, by the way, and that's also in the registration email you should have received today. And there's more networking. So over here in the lounge, now this is a little pop-up video. So there's a couple of these, there's no sound or anything like that. And you can watch these however many times you like. That just explains how things work. You can find that video again here, how to network. Like I say, that appears on most of the pages just to make it a little bit clearer. Oh my, okay, there's somebody in there. So this is the lounge. Now this is actually only going to be live next week, but this is the casual lounge. Imagine it just like the lounge of a hotel if we were having our conference at a hotel. And sessions here are limited to 15 minutes long. So you literally pull up a pew and wait for somebody to come and join you. Now, I don't actually want to stay in there for too long because if somebody joins us, they'll be horrified to be broadcast on ICB TV. But that's how you do it. You just grab a seat and you sit down, and there will be a few more tables here. And these will be sort of thematically based. So you can go and find people who want to talk about the same kind of thing that you want to talk about. And that is the lovely lounge, and it doesn't stop there. So whilst you're watching all of your, unfortunately, I can't show you what an actual session looks like. That's the one thing that you can't see until it's actually going live. But you'll be watching sessions here. You click on them to watch them. and there'll be chat and there'll be Q&A that's related to that session right there. So you can see who's watching that video with you at that time. You can discuss it, you can ask questions. And then when you're not watching an actual session, you can go over here to the exhibition. Now, we've got a booth, and Xero, of course, has a booth, and then all of our lovely sponsors have booths as well. Now, what this really is, again, is a sort of, it's just a web page, a hub dedicated to this exhibitor. And they might have some things to download. They might have a little call to action and offer potentially, or just a link to their website. And you'll also be able to see their team members. So you don't have to put up your picture, by the way, so not everybody will do, but you'll see their team members, and then again, you can just find out more about them, meet up with them, or chat with them. And the significant thing that I would recommend that you do, why don't you just do it to all of the exhibitors, pick up those points, get higher up the leaderboard, and share your details. And it will double check that you want to do this. Your contact information will be shared with Xero. Are you sure you want to proceed? Now, we are super careful with your data. So the only thing that they will get, even if you confirm this, is your postcode, your email address, and your telephone number. And then they will also see what else is visible in your profile, which is your name, your company, and your role, your position. So if you're like, I'm a bookkeeper at Bookkeepers Inc., and my name is Amy, everyone will be able to see that. But then it's only until you share your details that anybody is able to then contact you. And again, you can just meet up with them or chat to them. The thing about this, though, is that this is for, say, you want to speak specifically to Vicky Bean, and you can just select somebody from the list. Now, some of these pages are incredible. Just to say, XU Magazine is our media partner, so you can go and meet Alex, find out more about XU Magazine if you're a bit of a Xero geek, which I know most people are. And this is ICB's page. There's a little teddy bear there. And this is all the people in our booth. So again, you can scroll through. You can make a beeline for Sobi if you want to speak to her. Make a beeline for Amy Church. Set up a little, start chatting with her. She's very slow at responding to my messages so far. And that is a great way to connect with people. If I just go back here, there's two ways to get to this bit. This here, you see where it says join? That is a link to their breakout room. So if you imagine, again, like a normal venue where you've got all your sessions on the main stage, and then you've got breakout sessions, which tend to be a little bit more interactive, maybe a bit more informal. Some of our exhibitors have those too. So you can find the breakout rooms here from the main menu. And we have, of course, got the fantastic Jacquie here answering any of your questions. So she's going to be answering some technical questions for you, particularly those that are related to the sessions she's running. We've also got our Director of Compliance, Stephen, ready to answer some questions here. Now, these rooms, some of our exhibitors will be using these rooms to run demos for you or to play videos for you, but you can also use this room simply just to chat. So again, what we're doing, we'll always have a member of our team, actually 2 members of our team in this session. It doesn't want me to share my video. So again, like with, don't worry about sharing your contact details because you won't be able to do it accidentally. The same is true with sharing your video. So it will always double check that you actually want to do that before it happens. And you have to have all of that set up. Now I'm just gonna, let me just hide that. There we go. So see here, it's crossing it out because I'm not yet sharing anything. So there I am, I'm in the room. And then I would just wait for somebody to join me. Now, as I say, some of those rooms will be used for interactive video. So if you want to, you can share your video and speak to somebody directly, or you can literally just chat to them, have a little text chat. And probably for most of the time, the ICB breakout room will be having this chat window open for you to just come along and ask us any general questions you've got. If you want to speak about upgrading your membership or taking your next exam, you can do that as well. So those are all the breakout rooms. So to wrap that up, you've got the social feed, which operates quite like Facebook.
And this is all available for 3 months.
Sorry?
And all of the sessions are available for 3 months, which is the big thing. You just keep going over and over again, okay? Not the live stuff, but you can do on all of the sessions.
Yes. So it's really just this networking that takes place in social feed, in the breakout rooms, and in the lounge. and sort of through the exhibition, that is very specific to the Bookkeepers Summit event schedule. So we've got that available from now until the end of next week. But after that point, we're going to switch off the networking, I'm afraid, and you will just be able to watch all of the sessions for 3 months. So you've got all of that CPD, so you can watch it live on the day, and then you can watch it, you can repeat watch as much as you like Netflix. But we're closing the networking, partly because there will be fewer people online. ICB won't be there to make sure that everybody knows where they're going and all that kind of stuff. So all the chats, if you want to be there and you want to meet people, I totally recommend you logging in next week, and particularly during Tuesday and Wednesday when those sessions are running. And like Garry said, yeah, there's networking within the sessions as well. So that's pretty much everything apart from the Lucre Awards. We are running the Lucre Awards, of course. Now that session starts, like I said, all the sessions run from 9:30 until 5 every day. And then there's a happy hour, which is virtual networking, which will be taking place in the breakout rooms and in the lounge. And then there's a break on the Tuesday. And then we all come back at 8 p.m. for more networking drinks if you want to. And then the Lucre Awards ceremony will be live streamed from 9 until 10 p.m. on Tuesday. So Garry and I will be presenting these awards, announcing the awards live. And we will have some live acceptance speeches as well. So It's super exciting. It's incredibly ambitious. Garry has just moved somewhere without broadband. So we are doing our very best to make sure it is the most incredible Lucre Awards ever. So if you're nominated or you know someone who's nominated, please do come. And then at the very end of the Lucre Awards, after our glitzy awards presentation, we are going to have an after party. So it's going to be like a big Zoom party where everyone's going to be dancing. So mute your mic, turn the music up, and let off some steam, because it has been one heck of a year. And I think that's everything.
Wow, so Paula Smith and the baggy trousers, we're going to get that again this year. That's excellent. That's good to know. And Sylvia Bohill letting everything loose. That's fantastic. There were some interesting sights on that dance floor. It was great fun. And I've got
sorry, should I stop sharing my screen?
All right, the platform looks amazing, says Claire Kendall. Well done, ICB. Can't wait for next week. I have to say, yeah, we've seen it a couple of times now, and I'm really excited about it. And I know somebody, again, going back to the social media, has said, I ought to be doing some work, but I'm so excited about the platform. I'm having fun. So, you know, don't let it take you away from work.
Yeah, and I think everybody needs to log on. I think we need to knock that crown out of Suze.
My dog was very interested in those seagulls.
Yeah, so right now I'm going to sort of messages. So poor Alina, who works with our global representatives, ICB global representatives, was desperate to get the crown from Sujay yesterday and just about made it, and then he straight away took it back.
Yeah, we need to knock Sujay back off of there.
Knock him off. There's quite a few Q&As. I don't know if that's Summit related. Would you please tell me I'm not sharing my screen anymore, am I?
No.
Okay.
No.
We've got quite a lot of queries.
Question, but Jackie, you've got a few technical questions to get through. I've got
I've got a couple that I can come back with, but most of them, Amy, I think on the question and answer on the summit are ones that you've probably answered now as you've gone through about connecting with people. When are people going to get their packs and their logins?
Oh, I literally just got my pack before I came on air. It's massive. This is is why people are not getting it. So there was a last minute trouble with, they made us a bespoke shaped box or something, and then they were damaged. They had to sort of pivot at the last minute, which is the thing that people do this year. So I'm not going to unbox it in case you don't have yours yet, but they are still coming through. You will get it by Monday. You actually don't need it in order to take part in the summit, but there are some Razor Cup themed items in there. Jackie's like, should I show mine? Sneak peek. So we will all be raising a cup, and there is a contest within the summit to submit your Razor Cup selfies. What I will do in terms of logging into the website, to access the summit. I will put a link very shortly on the main Bookkeepers Summit website and on the main ICB website. You will have received a registration email. It will come from events@bookkeepers.org.uk. It will, I'm sure, go to your spam, as these things do, or your junk mail folder. It has got "Welcome to the Bookkeepers Summit" as the subject line. I'm just popping this into the chat as well so you can see it. And it will just give you a link straight into the Bookkeepers Summit there. So yeah, this cup is foldable, guys.
It's a flexible cup.
Yeah.
June thought it was horrified. She's like, that does not look safe. So please,
no, it's fine. The only thing is, it does take a little bit of, well, it did. Oh, it's easier this time.
It took Jackie a long time to open it.
And then it has a.
What about the cats and dogs? I understood what people wanted to know, if they could take selfies of their dogs watching the screen when the conference was on. Is that right? Is that part of Raise a Cup, or is that part of?
I think we've suggested that. Yeah, it's just everyone's got lovely pets, haven't they?
Yeah.
I think that's maybe separate. I actively encourage sharing of all pet photos, please, as an urbanite with no pets. So I'm just putting in what the subject line is as well. Now, regarding the app, if you have an Apple phone, just pop to the App Store and search for Bookkeepers Summit, and you will find the app. It looks a bit like this. Here's the social feed right there. If you're on Android, you can try searching for Bookkeepers Summit and you will not find it. I have no idea why. So you will need the direct link. And that direct link is available in the email. So check the email. I'm just, again, writing just what the subject line is, and you should be able to find it in your junk. If not, I'll also give you the website. Why not? I'll put that in the chat as well. But it's bookkeepersummit.hubelo.com/community. So the platform that we hunted high and low for is called Hubelo, or Hullabaloo, depending on which way you pronounce it. But it's a real good one, and I'm very pleased to say all of our exhibitors so far are pretty chuffed with it as well. And I personally haven't been to an event yet which offers this level of interactivity, as well as just the standard webinar stuff. So yeah, a packed schedule on Tuesday and Wednesday, but around that, lots and lots of networking, and yeah, I think we're more connected than ever. So I do hope you enjoy it, and that's enough for me, I think, probably.
Great, and it's going to be sandwiched between Mike on Monday, which will be on the normal Zoom, and thankfully it's Friday, which we may or may not have much to say next Friday, Jackie, or you might be short of voice because you'll be hoarse.
It depends.
Anyway, we'll
depends
see.
how many. Depends how many people want to chat. I'm available for most of the time to chat to people, answer questions and things, as I would normally do. So. Lots of bits there about your seagulls, Garry. Jan's dog was very interested. We got some delay.
Yeah.
Okay, can I just pick up on a couple of queries on furlough now? It's quite a few that are very similar. There's a couple of questions on whether new employers can access the furlough scheme. The answer to that is yes, I think it can, because there is no deadline by which they have to have been registered. Employers just have to have a PAYE account and the various things like bank accounts, and have put everything up online. So you have to have an online PAYE account with HMRC, and you have to have submitted at least one RTI prior to the 30th of October in order to see if you're eligible. But again, there's lots of information on there about that. Kirsty came up with a question, Kirsty St. John, hi Kirsty, about shielding. I think this is to do with childcare, which, as I've said numerous times before, I still think is the most complicated furlough scheme there is, because nurseries are often part funded or fully funded. And I think the rules apply. Kirsty, I think if the nursery is fully funded, then there is no furlough, as I understand it, because they should be getting sufficient funding to pay the salaries of shielding staff anyway. If it's part funded, then it may be that you can use your private section and percentage of that to furlough your shielded employees and claim the furlough that way. But if you want to take that further, Kirsty, contact me on a one-to-one and we'll try and sort that out. And one question that's come back last week from Nicola about calculating average hours for holidays. I think this is exactly the same. I think you have to go back and look at the hours that you've been using and furloughing and use your normal hours that you have been using as your calculation for holiday pay. But of course, then when you pay holiday, you have to pay at the full rate, not the 80% rate. So I think you've got to go back and look at the hours, the normal hours. Now, one of the queries that's come through is we've got a couple of members who have got clients who, because of the nature of the change of the business and for whatever reason, and I'm not going to mention the name, but one is actually where employees have been reducing their hours, either voluntarily or for non-COVID reasons. Now, I've thought about this a lot, and there is one particular, I won't embarrass our member by saying who it is, but there is an employee who is now a client, who was a part driver and part bookkeeper, but has made such a mess of the bookkeeping that actually they've appointed our member to be their bookkeeper, which is fabulous for our member. But the question was, should they go back and use the full hours for calculating the furlough payment? Well, as I understand it, the furlough calculation, although it's based on the average hours as we've used before, if the job has changed for non-COVID reasons, then you shouldn't be using the previous COVID calculations. So I had a look into that one, and I was trying to think of the ethics of that. If somebody is no longer working for non-COVID reasons, then you probably shouldn't include those hours. Right, I think you've got far more questions for Amy than you have for me, which is great this afternoon. Here's one from Lynn Thornley. Jackie, I have a new employer who only started in August with a new employee. They've both contracted COVID, so are isolating. Just confirming, are we able to claim COVID SSP from HMRC? Well, yes, you can, providing you fulfill the eligibility. So you had to have put at least one claim in by the 30th of October, and you have to have your PAYE system set up. And if it's a long term, then you can claim furlough, and on long-term sick or longer than just isolating for a week, you can use the furlough scheme if people are off sick due to COVID-related illnesses. So I think the answer to that one is probably yes. Jan's dog is very interested in your seagulls, Garry.
Another one, yeah, good.
Lots of, and Amy in the chat line, Amy has put quite a lot of information up there for you. So have a look in the chat line. If you need to take those links across, then pick the links up. Make sure you get the complete one, not the half one. Amy's done what I always do and press enter off the phone far too soon. My phone has a mind of its own, and it does work on. Angela's come back and said, I've been told that furlough weeks can't be used in the 52 weeks that have to be used in the holiday calculations. So you have to use 52 actual worked weeks. I'll have to think about that one, Angela, because the rule is you go back over the last 52 worked weeks. But if you're not working because of furlough and you're still including those, your holiday is accruing through the furlough weeks. So I think you probably do, providing that you have worked out your normal worked hours. But if anybody wants to disagree with me on that, please come back to me, because I am still struggling with holidays. Jackie, did you say, oh, this is Elizabeth. Hi, Elizabeth. Did you say that when isolation is due to track and trace, you cannot furlough staff? The idea is that it shouldn't be used through track and trace if they're isolating purely because they've been contacted by track and trace. But it does actually mention that if you go onto the gov.uk website and put a search in on eligibility for furlough, it has got that covered in it. And there is definitely something I've seen in there that said that is not intended for short-term non-working due to isolation. So obviously, if your employees are working from home, there's not an issue because they can still work. But if they cannot go to work simply because track and trace has said that, then they shouldn't. It says you should not use the furlough scheme for that. And that I found from HMRC. Oh, sorry, Catherine's come back. That's corrected me. The eligibility still says online that the PAYE system had to be set up pre-March to claim SSP. Oh, that's statutory sick pay. Claim the statutory sick pay back. Adrian's asking about the email link for the summit.
Yeah, I think Amy's putting everything up at the moment, isn't she? She's just answering some questions as well. So
Claire is coming.
I am here. I'm just, if you've specifically said that you don't have your emails, I'm just going into the ticket site to check what email address it's been sent to, just in case. But yeah, we can always resend people's logins. You don't need it anyway. You can just go directly to the website address that I posted. And yeah, I keep pressing enter and it posts everything for me. Very annoying. But you don't need a www or anything like that in front of the website address. It is just Bookkeepers, by the way. Right, I'm done.
Bookkeepers. Okay.
Claire says, we have an employee who has been on furlough and flexi furlough from the start. However, his pay is based on his salary as it was in March. He received a pay rise in July as part of his contract. Should his furlough now be based on his new basic or his old? I hope this makes sense. It makes perfect sense. And all I can do is reiterate the wording on the gov.uk website that said if they were eligible to be furloughed, then you use the same pay calculation. So I think for the furloughed wage, it's going to have to be the old wage, not the new wage, because I thought about this and I thought this seems rather unfair to those who were furloughed earlier and those who have come in later, that those who've started since the furlough started will be based on a higher wage, but of course they won't have had any furlough money before. So I don't know whether that's the ruling, because otherwise everybody could have given everybody a huge pay increase temporarily, have it based on their current pay rate, gain an awful lot more on furlough and then drop back down when furlough ends. So not that anybody would do that, of course, but they might just do that. So that's why I'm pretty certain that HMRC have taken that decision. I think I've covered most of the furlough questions.
Well, while you're just thinking about those at the moment, Jackie, just reading them through, just to say that life goes on next week at some pace. If you haven't yet booked your ticket, there is still time to book a ticket. As I think the current rate now, we're up to about 25 or 26, I think it is so far today. So that's getting very close to the day itself, but it doesn't matter. We'd love to have you there anyway. We think it will be a great help to you, to your career, to your clients and everybody. It should be a fantastic summit. And unlike the other summit, although you can take the memory away with you, you can actually hold on to this one for 3 months at least, which is absolutely fantastic, and that would be great. And it's a new way of doing things. We're not quite sure what's going to happen next year yet, but then again, we don't know what's going to happen next year over so many different things. So whether or not we're all going to get vaccinations and we're all going to be COVID-free next year, or goodness only knows what. Have you got more questions, Jackie? Or
yeah, I've got one coming, which is actually based on the self-employment grant for members, which is a good one. Caroline, good afternoon, Caroline. She said, apologies, it's the first time I've joined one of these. You do not need to apologise. It's fabulous that you're with us today. To date, I haven't claimed the government grant for the self-employed. Can I claim if I still have the same level of work, but I'm having to work from home rather than in clients' premises? We have talked about this, and I think the answer in this particular instance is probably no. You probably shouldn't claim, because you have to actually state that your income has been impacted. So the fact that you're working from home, if your income is the same level, then you shouldn't claim, because you're going to be earning the same amount. If your income has dropped because clients haven't got as much work for you, then yes, you can claim, but you will have to do some reconciliation at the end of the year. When you come to do your self-assessment next year, you do your annual return, your self-assessment. If HMRC have given you a grant and they say, well, actually your income from your services is exactly the same as last year, therefore you shouldn't claim, beware that you may have to pay it back. And the problem with claiming, if you're not entitled to it because of your income, and the rules and regulations for each 3 of these SAGE grants has been slightly different. you would have to be asked, could be asked to pay back that grant. But also, if HMRC, and I don't mean to be frightening here, but if HMRC decide it has been claimed fraudulently, then you will also have a penalty to pay, which could be as much as the actual grant itself. So we have talked about this, Caroline, going right back to day one on these, and I think where is it, 91 we are now, Garry. We have talked about whether our members should apply or not, and it's one that you're going to have to take a decision on based on your income for this grant. Okay.
Yep, I think it is 91 today. We are going to attempt to do 100 this year. So we might have to squeeze one or two more in the last week of December, or mid-weeks of December or something like that. That'd be good. But it's quite interesting. June and I were driving around here, reminding ourselves what Hampshire is all about, and we drove through Fareham. And Fareham, there's a hotel bang in the middle, which is where Gina Westwell used to run her very, very successful meetings some time ago. And we came here, I think, on 2 occasions to support the branch. So it was lovely to drive past it again. And we were just driving past and all of a sudden, oh, look, there it is. So, yeah, we hope that more and more of you will continue to join in with our branch meetings. Everybody is telling us they're great fun, even though they're virtual. You're getting close to being next to people and working with people. I think I might have a fire alarm.
I was going to say, something's going on in your background, Garry. Garry, we were talking.
I think I might have to go.
Oh, okay.
I was going to say there are loads of comments from people saying they haven't got their email. I can resend them. I've resent Adrian Wright. I've resent yours. Sorry, maybe you want to see me. Is it weird? Adrian Wright, I've resent your login email. It's your Hunter Daniel address. Carol Gibson, I've resent yours. That's to the admin address. And so I'm going to resend to Gillian Helen. And anybody else who doesn't have one? Anne Woodhouse. We've been on Facebook together, haven't we? Messaging each other recently. And so anybody who's sort of still asking questions about that, I will just find you and I'll resend your login. But yeah, just to reiterate, the email was sent, I think, between about 10 and 11 this morning. It will come from events@bookkeepers.org.uk. It will be probably in your junk or your spam. For me, yeah. I've got 2 profiles just to test it. It goes straight into my normal email account, but from my work email, it goes to junk. I
would also say, Amy, sorry to interrupt. Gillian has said, I've tried to use the link and I'm not getting the one-time password. My one-time password definitely goes into spam.
It will definitely be in your spam. Yeah. Yeah, it will definitely be.
And I wondered why I couldn't get it. It was when I did it from my phone as well. And when I went into my emails, I had 6 codes, one-time passcodes.
Yeah, so that's why it's handy. Basically, if you sort of look, if you do get the welcome email, it then is verifying your email by the fact that you've received the email. So it won't then send you a one-time password. I personally have it in my junk mail folder. I don't know if that's different from spam. I think it might be. I also have two junk mail folders. But can you just search for events@bookkeepers.org.uk? You will probably have millions of emails. And the subject line is "Welcome to the Bookkeepers Summit!" ! But if you want to, we also have another way of getting you in. If you're great, anonymous attendee is with me. Theirs went into their junk mail. If you still can't do it, if you've gone to the website and you're having trouble finding this one-time password, that again will come from events@bookkeepers.org.uk. It will probably go to junk, and the subject line of that email will just be login. It just gives you a code. But if you call ICB, they will be able to give you a code over the phone. Now, for security reasons, they will ask you to verify your account. Because we do want to make sure this is a secure, safe environment. And
I think that might be the best thing for Gillian to do as well, because she's still having some problems. So perhaps if you ring us, Gillian, someone in the office will be, or someone on the phone will be able to help you.
Sylvia, I will double check where it's gone, but I presume it will just go to your home address. If you haven't put your address in when you checked out, then it will just go to your home address rather than your business address for the delegate pack. Yay, Carol got hers. Hooray. So I'm not completely losing my mind. So that's good. Okay. So yeah, if you are desperate to try and get access, just give us a call on the phone, please.
Yeah. Just before we finish, Amy and I were talking, Garry mentioned about trying to do some more webinars and ICB TVs before Christmas. One of the things Amy and I want to do, we have a massive topic coming up that's going to hit us on the 1st of January that we are covering at the summit, and I have an article going out on it, and that's the dreaded EU transition and what's going to happen for invoicing and VAT. There is an article going up onto the website which introduces it and gives you lots of links. We are covering it. I am around at the summit if anybody wants to have a chat about anything, and I think we are going to do some webinars on that once the summit is over, so that we can start opening up that. And anyone who is dealing with EU VAT and export and import, I do have focus group available. So if you want to join that focus group, we haven't done very much with it yet because we're still waiting for the final information to come out. Do email into member services for my attention, and we will add you onto the focus group. And then as information comes in, I can get that sent out directly to you as a group. Okay.
So yeah, what are you all doing? Get cracking, try and log into the website.
And
Lucy Brown, I just got a notification to say Lucy Brown, who's one of our speakers and a member, obviously, has just sent me a message on the app. So yeah, be there or be square.
Great. Well, it's going to be an exciting couple of days, so I'll be around, and Amy will be around, and we'll all be around. So do contact us if you've got any technical queries. If you can find me on there, I'll be there most of the time. Yeah, come and book a chair and have a chat. I look forward to meeting you. I will miss seeing you all face to face, but this is almost as good. Okay.
Yeah, I have seen that from Sarah Hawkins once.
Oh yeah, Sarah, I'll take that. I hadn't got that, so I'll make a note of that, Sarah, and I'll be in touch.
Okay, great. And then everybody else, yeah, if you've got any problems, call ICB, try and get in touch. Everyone should know, because we've all been like desperately waiting for our delegate packs and getting the app to work and all that kind of stuff. So we're totally know how it feels.
Okay.
Have a lovely weekend.
Yes, have a great weekend, everyone, and we'll see you next week, once or twice. Bye all.